No more questions, Matteo. Thanks for a very nice presentation.
Thanks, Duan.
And now I have to announce, of course, the host of this meeting. And that's our big friend for a long, long time, Helge Sagen from IMR, and he's the head of the Norwegian data center. And he's going to tell you something about 10 years of National Marine Data Center, how it feels, how it works, what are the tricks of the book, everything.
What does not work?
How does it not work? I didn't want to say that, but everything that he has to reveal now. It's now your moment, Helge.
Yes. We have been a national research infrastructure since 2012, so it's actually more than 10 years. The first thing we start with is talking about data policies. Everybody that has data, they need a data policy. And IMR have had a data policy for a long time, but not all the institutions in Norway have had that. And if you have a data policy, you like to share data, you also need to use a license. And we are promoting the Creative Commons CC BY as a license, which most of Europe does. And if I mention NMD and NMDC, it's two different things. NMD is my data center at IMR. The people of the data center is more or less in the room. I think there is 10 or 11 of them here today or during the conference. And NMDC is the national infrastructure, which has 16 institutions. We have achieved the Core Trust seal because we think you need to be certified as a trusted repository. We got the first one in 2017, and we have been reviewed once, so we have a second period now until 25. And we also got accredited as the Norwegian NODC from UNESCO, IOC, IODE in 2023. So we have kind of one accreditation and one certification. And everybody talks about fair. So what does it mean to us? We have a data catalog in the NMDC. It's not all data in Norway, but it's at least a couple of thousand data sets in Norway. And the data catalog means that you can find the data. Every data set has to be accessible, so that's the A. So that means on the red square that you can download the data that this metadata points at. And then the next letter, the interoperable letter, that's the really difficult part for us, at least for us. We are trying to use OpenDAP in some cases. We have both threads, hierarchs, and ODAP running. We haven't kind of decided which one to use, but we are kind of investigating which one is the best. This helps us on the I. We're also told to put all our raw data available, and that's about 2 petabytes. And we're having an IBM system as our data storage, and then it's now about 300 terabytes a year increase. So you see that in 2015 something happened. You got the new research vessel, then 10 times more data doing nothing more, but you get at least more data. And we now get about, let's say, 1 petabyte in 5 years. So it has kind of stabilized around 250 to 300 terabytes a year. We don't know if it will be that in the future, but that's the current situation. And then To be able to do that, we make it available. We use object storage from IBM, which is an Amazon S3 implementation. So you make S3 buckets of the data. And you can use then CyberDuck as a client, more or less like an FTP client. Instead, it's an S3 client. You can actually then download 2 petabytes of data. It will take some time. I don't recommend it, but it's available. So it's back to 2010. So that's before 2010. That is, well, then we are looking at gigabytes and megabytes. And the last letter is the reusable or reproducible, whatever. And this table with the 16 data policies, that we started that work in, as I said, in 2010, 2012, and only a few of the partners knew what the data policy was. And early this year, in February, I got the last data policy out of the 15 partners. So it took 12 years to get all these 15 data policies. But they are all now green, and we are funded by the Research Council, so they have been kind of asking us every year, have you now gotten all the data policies? And I have to say no, but now I can say yes. And now we will send a new application, so then there will be new partners, so then I will be chasing some other institutions in Norway if they have a data policy. So there might be some red lines next year. And as I said, we're using Creative Commons, but we do have a same type of license in Norway, the Norwegian license for open governmental data. It's compatible with CC BY, so we use them both. And then this is kind of self-explanating figure. If you compare it to NetCDF format, that's also a self-explanating format. So I guess you just understand this. On the left side, there is the consortium of the 15 partners, the NMDC. And then on the top, that's the kind of UNESCO and ISIS and World Data System, World Ocean Database, GBIF and FAO, which we share data with. And then on the left side, the European projects that we are involved in, both in CDataNet and IMONET and Copernicus, Olamur, Everyfish. There's a lot of projects. And the one at the bottom, that is kind of the coming infrastructures that we have been involved in that might be funded later this year. NMDC, we call it a distributed system. So we have 6 or 7 local nodes that we harvest metadata from into a central metadata database. And then we have the 10 partners that do not have their own local node. So then that is kind of the 7th node at my location. So I then have 10 partners in one node and IMR in one node and then the rest. And then you're also going to handle near real-time data. This is a sea bottom observatory in Lofoten, Vesterålen, Love, or Love, depends on how you like to pronounce it. You might have heard of this fiber cable that has been taken by a trawler. The fiber cable is not there anymore. A part of it it's there, but we deployed new equipment on the southern locations. But then early May, all power disappeared on the fiber cable, so no instruments are working. So we have to investigate, but no data is coming at the moment. And then we had a sailing ship from Bergen, a local boat. It's quite big one. We equipped it with a lot of sensors, and then it sailed from Bergen in 21, and it sailed around the globe, used about 2 years. I joined it on Cuba, sailed to Bahamas, continued to Miami, was a nice trip. We collected CTD casts, and the problem is that it takes about 1 hour to stop the ship. But then you can take a CTD cast. But we had all the data coming in every day, well, as long as we had the satellite communication, the data worked. There are some sectors in the Pacific and the Atlantic that has no connection, so then it takes a couple of weeks before the data flows. So all the data is on the NMDC portal, 10 cruises. And then, of course, we have worked with Copernicus. We are the Arctic data center for Copernicus. This is 1 month of data, some research vessels from IMR or University of Bergen or wherever. And then we add the rest of the data in the Arctic, so then you get the more coverage of the data. So we have a lot of data, but not too much. We work with NordDataNet, which is another scientific research infrastructure. We work with Emonet, CSearch. We work with the ISIS data center, Neil. We do share data, and we share data with IODE and the World Ocean Database. So the 10 years have been a success, and we try to continue it with a new application. We call it the Norwegian Marine Data Space, because data spaces are the buzzword today. So we might know if we get a 10-year project later on this year. If not, we have to continue without funding. Then we have to rely on projects and so on. So, thank you.
Hi, Helge. Congratulations, first of all. But you were mentioning these licenses. In GEO, we are discussing not only interoperability between the different systems, but interoperability between the licenses as well. So I think you said that you were waiting for, the licenses to come in. Did you give directions to what license they should apply, or did you have to do, can I assume that the licenses are indeed interoperable, or how did you address that? Thank you.
We advised everybody to use CC BY, and we have more or less succeeded on the 16 partners that everybody does that. There are CC BY share alike on some pictures, but that is quite common. But then we have also approached some industry data. And because the seismic companies, they take CTD casts before they shoot seismic. And I tried to get some of those CTD casts, and I have offered them to Emonet, but the problem is that they say non-commercial. So CC BY NC. And then Emonet doesn't want those data. And if you kind of take CC BY data and CC BY NC data and put them together, everything becomes non-commercial. So you have to keep them separate, but if you use them, well, we do not do commercial stuff, so for us it's not a problem, but it is a problem when you have several licenses and you combine the data.
Thank you. Neil?
Yeah, thank you, Helge. It was very impressive. And who doesn't want to be part of the Love Ocean project? It sounds fantastic. I also have a question about the licensing. So what you were describing there, where you say you've got the two synonymous licenses, the Norwegian one and the CC BY. So how does that actually play out in practice? Does that mean that you have things that are with both licenses, or you have to choose one or the other?
I prefer to choose CC BY, but then some tell us to use the Norwegian license instead. But since they are compatible, it really doesn't matter. if you ask the Met Office, they kind of double license all the data with the NLOD license and the CC BY license. It's, well, it doesn't get more complicated, but I prefer just to use the CC BY.
Alexandra?
Yeah, maybe a suggestion on, like, the mappings are what saves the situation in these cases, but it needs these licenses to be published in controlled vocabularies that can then say that this license is equivalent to that CC BY license, and then you solve your problem and you point people to the mappings.
Yeah.
It's better to use one, yeah, but if you don't, this is a way to solve.
I think we have made them include in the text of the Norwegian license that it is compatible with CC BY.
It's not machine readable though.
Okay.
No more questions for this gentleman who hosts us? He is responsible for
Take
tonight.
any questions.
He's responsible for organization this evening, so give him a warm applause, okay?